going to stay with me because we're coming to another vital part of the evening, probably the piece that everybody really wants. And I suppose when you look around and you say, well, we've done the book, who are we going to get to launch it with? And there is little doubt that there is one driver, one rally driver, that transcends generations, and I mean generations. But not alone is he a rally driver. And I know he was, but he should have been, and he was a politician, because the guy just has a way with anything. I was lucky enough, maybe 20 years ago, for about 5 minutes to sit with him in a rally in the Race of Champions in Spain. And his driving talent, I mean, I knew it was good, but the guy could make the car talk. He was so good. But we completed a great double today, because I actually drove Ari back on the ring stage, so I reckon, you know, we're quits. Ladies and gentlemen, the man that the Cork Motor Club, and Kevin in particular, decided that would be fitting to launch the book. He began rallying in the 70s. He's a former World Rally champion. He's a Paris-Dakar winner on 4 occasions, and he's a former MEP. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 words, Ari Vatanen. Now, Ari, if you'll just sit with for a moment, and we'll do the official part in a few minutes, but I wouldn't be underestimating if I said the people of Ireland, and particularly the people of West Cork, adore you, because you just have what it has. You know, you got what it takes, and everybody here knows Ari Vatanen, and everybody here would claim to have met Ari Vatanen, because you thrilled the fans right throughout the years, whether it was watch it on television or watch it when you came to Donegal, to Cork, or to the Circuit of Ireland. I'm sure you're delighted to be back in Clonakilty, and delighted to have met your great friend and former MEP Brian Crowley. You're the former, and of course he's the present. It's great to be in Clon.
Very much. It's a really good evening to everybody. I know it's good to be here. And if we start from the wrong way around, if we start from Brian, we actually, this is, I mean, you're not supposed to tell this to the press tomorrow morning, but you know, on the next European elections, which are in 6 months' time, roughly, Brian, whatever, slightly more next spring. So Brian will be now number 2 on the list, and I will be number 1, the same party. So not only you can choose Brian, but you can have me also. Yeah. So maybe that gives you the depth of affection I have for this place, and the fact that I'm here tonight is the proof of it. Simply, don't get me wrong, but I have traveled a lot in my life, and I get still, and of course that really warms my heart. I get lots of requests to various things to come here and do this and do that, and of course I'm very touched that I get these requests, but very rarely I say yes, very rarely, because just the time is of limited supply. As we know, we don't know how much time we have got left, and I want to concentrate on the things I like, of course, in the family and on my life, and etc., etc. But when this invitation came to Cork, I mean, I did not hesitate. I mean, I said, I just listen always to my heart. My heart says, go to Cork, and I came to Cork.
Yeah. Obviously, Cork, as you know, is the capital of Ireland. Don't mind these dubs, you know. And I remember when I had that seat with you back in the Canaries, you asked me where am I from.
I'm sure he's making it up, but let's take.
I said yeah. Ireland, and
so many people say they have my rally car, they have been my co-drivers, and anyway, I mean, we mustn't spoil these good stories, you know.
The first question you asked me when you asked me where was I from, and I said Ireland, and the first question you asked was, how is Billy Coleman?
Very good, fair.
You've met Billy again tonight, and that's a great part of the history as well between you and Ireland, and yourself and Billy, and all that type of thing. It's important to you, isn't it?
No, I mean, Billy personalizes for me, or makes it personal what Ireland is for me. And of course, Billy was part of my early part of my career, and you know, when you are young and when the learning curve is very steep. I mean, you are thrown into the deep end of the pool, and I mean, you live to the full. Then later on, the novelty, you lose that novelty. I mean, it's not there anymore to such extent. That's how it goes in life, and it goes in marriage, in everything. So that's a big challenge. Anyway, so Billy was very much part of that environment of my rallying, and I had this great privilege when I came to Boreham in '76. So Boreham put me on a training course. So I did rallies in British. Lots of rallies in the British Isles, and luckily we did, of course, infamous Donegal already 1975. 1975 Donegal was my one of my very first foreign events, maybe second or third or fourth foreign event, and so of course I do remember many other drivers, but of course if you have to mention one driver from that time, it's Billy Coleman. Thank you for Billy for what you are.
Now, of course, one of the aspect that we've invited you here this weekend is to launch the book. Now, Kevin, I think you have something that's been wrapped up there for a number of hours. Oh yeah, I think I will last minute change of plans because Billy now wants to join us. So Billy, ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome for Billy Coleman. Billy, I'm sure you're delighted to be next to this guy again, and it evokes many memories for you, and I suppose it's the Mark II era is the common theme.
Well, actually, we were talking about farming mainly, so we'll probably get around to the cars later on, maybe.
Actually, if I just stop you on that, because
this is a farmer. This guy's a farmer too. You know?
When we were having,
he's a proper farmer. I'm a gentleman farmer.
Well.
I just take the subsidies, thank you.
And are they the subsidies that MEP Crowley has organised?
And Billy's having to work also, you know.
No, you see, the difference is Ari did the sensible thing and he got out of it, and he went on to better things. I'm unfortunately still stuck with it. So.
Yeah, that's actually very funny what you said, because we were having just some few things in DC's of Ring this afternoon, and we were chatting about that, and you were saying about when you go to countries and whatever, and if you remember, I said to you the time that Billy would go to Europe and he would often stop, and if there'd be a field of barley, he'd just go in, he'd clasp some of it in his hand and see what quality the barley was. But it's important, I suppose, you know, a lot of, you know, even in your era, Billy, when you were driving in Europe, you know, people would just see it as, well, you're rally drivers, but you know, you're interested in lots of things, and you were farming, and I suppose you had an interest in how they farmed in Europe as well at the time.
Yeah, but it's an incurable disease. You see, that's one of the problems with it. And you see, one of the things about Ari that people don't realise, Ari's actually a very humble guy, really. And
I think there's two humble or three humble guys to my left.
A little story, you see, which kind of, I don't know, was it an encouragement or a discouragement? Myself in my early years, so he's a bit younger than me, you see, but the famous Roger Clark, maybe some of the younger people here mightn't have heard of him, but Roger was the man to beat in England that time, and Roger was good, in fairness, you see, so I got to a stage when my pace was improving, you know, and I thought eventually maybe that I could maybe handle this man. So we were travelling somewhere, Ari and I, and I said, you know, Ari, I think I could beat Roger soon.
Maybe just the lads
Sorry,
here at
yeah,
the back, that's
yeah.
okay. You can all hear now.
I said, I feel I'm ready to take on Roger now. I can beat him very soon. At that point, I got within, you know, 10 seconds, maybe 1 second at one time. So, and Ari says, yeah, of course you can, he said. And then, I will beat you. so he's...
just earlier there, as we were all assembling just before Kevin came out to bring his book out, we had Keith Cronin just taking a seat with us. But we were talking today about the young drivers to make it to the top and the cars they were driving. But I suppose when you went back, when both Ari and yourself were driving, when you wouldn't have a works car, when you had an ordinary car, it was much easier to compare yourselves then to the works guys, and you either knew you had it or you hadn't got it, in times posting.
Oh, yeah,
but you can't do that now.
No, that's sadly, that's why, a great sympathy for it, and it must take enormous determination to what Keith and the lads are doing there, because, I mean, if you just say early 70s, if you had 7,000 or 8,000 pounds, it was a bit of money, it was maybe 30 grand today, but I mean, you pay 30 grand today for a family car. You could go to Ford Motor Company and buy an ex-works car, and you had a car that was equal to the very best. Whereas now, I mean, 30 grand wouldn't buy you, I said, a gearbox. So
Yeah.
it's really gone to, no, it was never a poor man's game, don't get me wrong, you had to have a few quid, but...
It's always been for the farmers.
Yeah. So, but it has changed. The cost has changed out of all recognition.
And Ari, you'd agree with that, though. You joke about the farmers, but
No jokes apart. I mean, I know it very painfully. That's why I'm looking the motorsport European director here, who is sitting on the first row. I mean, our youngest, the oldest Kim is here, and the youngest Max started rallying a year ago, and now not only the worries in our family, Rita thought that they are when my somewhat colorful career is finished, so the worries are finished for her. And by the way, we always underestimated what the worries are in the family, because motorsport is not like running or orienteering or tennis. I mean, you have that anxiety, and okay, in my particular case, I mean, I had some, or at least one very, very bad accident, and etc., etc. But anyway, I have to tell you this little story. Rita brought a car maybe 10 years ago, and that was about the end of my car, a private car from France, out of France, back to Finland. No, I kept on calling, and I was not with her, so I kept on calling her, because every 2 hours, where are you? Are you in Germany? And don't miss the Autobahn sanction, and etc. And be careful and careful. And then, a couple of days later, she was on a Finnish soil, I was in Helsinki, and I said, finally, you are now, and you only 100 km to Helsinki from the harbor, so you finally hear that, Rita, you can't imagine how worried I was. He said, look at guy, if you were worried when I'm driving on a motorway through and for 2 days in Europe, imagine what kind of time you have given me over the last 3 decades. So then I realized that now when Max is driving, there's that side, but on top of that, I now realize how expensive it is. It is incredibly expensive, and I don't know what the solution is. When technology has gone forward so much, I think the only solution is the way they try to do it, but I think we still need to improve it. That you have this one-make classes when everybody has a similar car. Well, why don't we have a restriction that you can only use, let's exaggerate, you can only use 4 tires in 10 rallies. So then tire manufacturers, they will make very hard tires. And as long as everybody has a very hard tire, so where the problem is, etc., etc. So really bring it down, and then the good ones, I mean, they will be seen when everybody has a similar cars.
I think this is actually an opportune time to ask somebody else to join us, and you mentioned him. Ladies and gentlemen, joining our little group here for this chat is Gerard Quinn of Ford of Europe. Gerard, if you'll take a seat here beside Kevin. And I know it's probably unfair to put you in at the deep end straight away, but you heard Billy and Ari chatting about how difficult it is, and in their era it was easier to compare yourself to the top driver. But is there really a solution out there? And would the restrictions that Ari have said, if they're further developed, would that be a solution? I know we have the Citroen Championships and things like that, but what's the way to go?
Well, right now I wish I had a time machine, because I could turn back the clock and have an affordable sport with 2 good drivers, works drivers in the 4 team. So, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. But no, I mean, listening to people talking about the sport and affordability and sustainability of the sport for the future, you know, a lot of things have happened in the sport over the past number of years, and most of that has been focused around safety and the safety of the cars and how they've developed over time. But you know, when you look at homologating a seat now, for example, today you're talking about buying a seat for a rally car that's, you know, anything up to 10,000 euros. A crash helmet, you know, is going to cost you an astronomical amount of money, and it's all driven by safety, which is good. But there are solutions out there, and if you look today at Ford recently launched the with M Sport the R5, which is a car based on production parts, if you like, and is closer to a production car than the World Rally car is. The differential in cost is about 350 to 400,000 for a World Rally car, 180 to 190,000 for an R5. So that potentially is a solution for the future, but the game keeps moving. And the sports governing body, I think, one day will listen and will see that, you know, when people turn their backs on the sport and go to other sports, they'll suddenly realize, probably when it's too late, that affordability was the thing that killed the sport.
You just mentioned M Sport there, and I think you have a little message from somebody for tonight.
Yeah, another ex-Ford driver. This was from somebody who couldn't make it tonight, but I know that most of you will probably know who this is from. And it goes, Dear Gerard, and so on. First of all, I would like to apologize for not being able to attend this evening. I am, however, really pleased to hear that you have the blonde bombshell in attendance, the one and only Ari Vatanen. Please don't feel you have to give him such an easy time while he is there. If my memory serves me right, 1979 was the year of my one and only entry into the West Cork Rally, and only my fourth outing on tarmac. It was the year Tony Pond crashed out on the first stage in his Talbot Lotus. It was also the year when my friendship with Roger Clark began, and he also competed in the event testing a G2 spec Fiesta. In terms of results, our escort suffered electrical problems on the start of the first stage, but after this problem was resolved, we went on to set the fastest time on 8 out of the 9 stages before suffering a catastrophic engine failure, forcing us into retirement. I always said I wanted to return to do the event, but sadly never got there. I am nevertheless pleased to see that it is still crucial round of the championship, and I would wish all involved many success in the years ahead. Have a fantastic night. All the best. Malcolm Wilson, OBE. I like the way he puts catastrophic engine failure. Normally, in Malcolm's terms, there's lots of euro signs after it, but in this letter, there's not.
Jared, you were a member of Cork Motor Club, and coming back to this evening, it must give you great pleasure as well to see the event, like, you know, the West Cork Rally being recorded here, because it is very important to put you know, items like that on record. They're there for future generations.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the West Cork Rally and Cork Motor Club is, you know, I started my time with Cork Motor Club in Blarney, going to meetings and doing night navigation events and things like that, and then getting started into the organizational side of motorsport. And I remember very early on marshalling and timekeeping and doing all of the essential things that help to keep a rally going. And you know, people should never underestimate the power, if you like, of the people involved in rallying, because unless you have marshals and timekeepers and the support of the local community, then rallying doesn't happen.
Right now, I suppose, unfortunately, what we haven't got tonight is a load of time, as we'd say in Ireland, because I could even keep you four guys here for another hour, but I think we have about 10, 12 other people here. So if I'd actually ask yourself, Jared, to go back and have your seat, and Billy as well, and I'd be just left with Kevin and Ari, and we'll do something, I suppose, that we meant to do 20 minutes ago, but we're going to do right now. So Kevin, if you'll come over, and just before we actually do this, there is also a significance in those of you who are not from the region in the fact that this is covered, it's green paper and it's a red ribbon. Now I know most of you, particularly those romantic about you, to be always a red ribbon, you know, but the red and green is the colours of Clonakilty. So that's the significance of that. I think it's also Mayo, you know. So maybe it's a good luck charm for those guys tomorrow, and I suppose nobody would begrudge them to bring Sam Maguire over to Mayo once he comes back down to Cork, its rightful home, next year or the year after. So, Kevin, I'll call on you to present Ari with the West Cork Rally, a history, and then I'll call on Ari to unveil the book, The Fruits of Your Endeavours for the Last 15 Months. So, ladies and gentlemen, as Ari unveils the ribbon and will open the covers of the book, after the forum is finished, the book will be on sale out in the foyer.
I've been married for so long I can't undo knots anymore.
Well, once you can get the jeweler to make the knot, I think you'll be okay. Your harness wouldn't even be tight as that, would it?
Beautiful one, yeah. That's very nice, this one, anyway. Harness, yes, they have to be tight, yes, they do. Yes, yes.
Especially the co-drivers.
Oh dear, look at that.
I think, listen, you better go at it the bullish way.
I'm like a Finnish police, if you don't have intelligence, use force.
Well, whoever wrapped the book or tied the wrapping did a great job. Now we have phase 1 done. And now if you'll take off the green. Do you open your Christmas presents like that, Ari?
I don't have many in these days anymore, no.
Well, you have one for this year anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, former Royal Rally champion Ari Vatanen and the West Cork Rally, a history. Here we go. So if you just move near Kevin there, and I'll take this away, and I'll give the lads another opportunity to have their photo shoot, because as they say, you just get one go at this. Kevin, you might take the corner of the book as well, just there, and now we're going to move the proceedings on as well. Ari, you might just flick through the book and maybe open a few pages to show people the lovely quality. And the inside covers are actually the front covers of the rallies since 1977. And I really mean that this is an impressive book, and you won't read it in a month. It's a fabulous...
It's a picture of Gerard taken about 15 years ago. It's a picture of Gerard taken about 15 years ago. Yeah.
Was he in his playpen then? But there are some lovely images, and I think as well as that, apart from the photographic content of the cars itself, the imagery of West Cork, which is, another aspect of the rallying that you have, and it is the one thing that some photographers don't do, and I think it is important that you get the scenery of a country and get the rally cars all in the one shot. It is, Ari, isn't it? Because when you're promoting a rally, you're promoting the country or the area.
Yes, of course you do, and the scenery is so good. I spit it was today when we went to see some of the classic stages. It was somewhat foggy, but still I could see how beautiful it is. But I knew what to expect, and it is. I took lots of photos when I was. Well, I can hang on to this. Just about. So I took lots of photos when I was a driver. I think more than my colleagues. So if I may give you one advice to all those young drivers or older drivers who are in this hall, I mean, just take plenty of photos. I mean, you never regret the photo you take, and that because then you can relive, because everything's blurred in life after a while, because so many things happen. And when you look at the photo, you actually, oh yes, I was there, and you relive your own life again. And I think it's very enriching. And that reminds me of one, because the first rally, as I said to you, was in '75, Donegal, and we had whatever was the local Opel dealer. He gave us his personal car as a recce car, and one evening then David Richards stayed in a hotel room, and I went out to recce on my own with the mechanic, and I overshot a junction and by, I don't know, 20-30 meters. So I just sort of quickly reverse and give a flick on the steering wheel, press the brake, and the front comes around, And then I'm ready to go where I'm going. And I did it on a tarmac, but instead of front going around, we went, wow! We rolled it while I was reversing. And the roof became like a tent, you know, like this. And we returned it to the local Opel dealer, and what did you do? At least I hope at least we were going fast when you rolled it. No, 20 miles going backwards. So, and another little, the last thing, another little detail, my English was obviously not very good at all in those days. I don't know how we did with the bass notes with David, but anyway, I was on my own road, and the policeman, Garda, stopped me and started to speak fast with the British accent, the English, Irish accent, and of course I couldn't figure out anything. So I said, me speak no English. No problem, we speak Gaelic.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ari Vatanen. Ari, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here to launch the book this evening, and I know you will also be so kind to autograph some copies later after we finish the Rally Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation for Ari Vatanen.